Peace and blessings. This is Raisa Kiwala, the divorced Muslim coach. And today we are on to video number 22. And this is the topic for today is a really big one. A big one because I see this in every, I think, woman that I've worked with. And we all struggle with this. Even when we see it, even when we, at different levels, because what it is that you are perfect, just the way you are right now, right here in this moment, as your imperfectly perfect self. And in the video before, a few videos previous, I had talked about where we need to get permission to be, just to be, and how, many of us are searching for this. I know I've searched for this my whole life, and even now, it's a lot more clearer, but sometimes we forget, and sometimes we lose sight of it, when we are not as connected to Allah, because our value and our worth and our honor and our dignity and our respect, all of that comes from the fact that we are a creation of Allah. That's it. No other reason. Just the fact that you are here breathing, that you exist, is enough. Makes you enough. Makes you perfect just the way you are in this moment. That doesn't mean that we're perfect people, we're perfect beings. That's only reserved for angels, not for humans, because, Allah created us by design to be human, to forget, to make mistakes, to, fall down and then get up and, forget and even forget Allah and then come back to Him. He created us that way on purpose, because that's what He wanted in His design. Otherwise, He already has angels, and if we weren't that way, He would have gotten rid of us, he tells us, and made a creation that would turn back to Him. And I feel like this topic is so important because it's easy to lose sight of this. And a lot of times we are searching for this because we don't already have it inherently within us, or we do have it, but we're just not seeing it. We're not able to see it inherently within us. And that comes from our relationship with Allah and how we see ourselves, our relationship with ourselves. And I had mentioned before that those are our two most important relationships, our relationship with Allah and the relationship we have with ourselves. And, I can see how in my life when I was young, when I was a child, I always wanted certain type of friends, and I was looking for acceptance, and I was looking for validation from the time I was young to all the way into high school and to college, and then going into being ripe for attracting a relationship of codependency. Now that's who I was at the time, and I don't regret it at all. I don't think it was a bad thing, because I had to be in that type of relationship that had so many great things about it. Yes, I was codependent in there, but that is who I was at the time. And in order for me to have come out of that and into a confident, courageous, free, independent thinking person who is the servant of Allah, I had to go through that to be able to see it for myself. And that's my journey and my story. We all have different stories, and we're all on a different path and journey. So just your existence really is all you have to acknowledge. Your existence, your relationship with Allah, who's already honored and valued and validated and dignified you, and how you see yourself, your relationship with yourself. So think about, are there any judgments that you have of yourself? How do you speak to yourself? How do you see yourself? Is there negative self-talk going on that you're not good enough? I know I definitely had that, and I still have it to a certain extent. It doesn't go away because we lose sight. It comes in layers, depending on how aware and conscious you are of your subconscious thoughts, of your subconscious self-talk. And, thinking, am I good enough for this? Can I make this? Can I do this? Can I succeed in this? And doubting ourselves, right? And it's not about arrogance, like, oh yeah, I can do this, but it's having that faith that it's not about the outcome, remember? It's just the intention and effort, that's it. And, asking, why is it you believe what it is you believe about yourself? That comes from how you see yourself, and that comes from our connection with Allah. When we see how Allah sees us, then we can mirror those same feelings about ourselves with ourselves. So in terms of feeling enoughness, do you think Allah expects you to be perfect? Allah just wants us to try, and is going to judge our intention and our effort and nothing else. And and our actions too. But if we take actions that were not good or were a mistake, when we ask Allah for forgiveness, He will always forgive us. It's actually people that may or may not forgive us, but Allah always will. And so when you are enough, when you are doing your best, there is nothing more to do. It's good enough. So think about self-judgment, self-criticism, self-oppression, and especially, I'm going to give you a clue, especially when you say to yourself, whether it's out loud, consciously or subconsciously, that word should. I should have done this. Oh, I should have done that. I should have gone here. I should have bought this, or I should have said this. Should means already in the past. There's already judgment in how you're thinking and viewing of yourself, that whatever you did wasn't good enough. Well, if you did your best, it is good enough. And Allah can accept us as is when we are doing our best, when we're trying our best. The question is can you? And this being a time of Ramadan, Aisha radiallahu anha reported that the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to say this dua towards the end of Ramadan: "Oh Allah, you are forgiving and generous. You love to forgive." Allah will always forgive us if we go back to Him. So my invitation to you is, think about the way you're talking to yourself, how you're feeling about yourself, because what you think about yourself is how you're going to feel about yourself, is how you're going to behave with yourself, whether you're going to be oppressive with yourself, whether you're going to be judgmental with yourself. And the other thing is that what happens when we're more conscious of our inner dialogue and if there is self-judgment, and there always is, at some level or another, there always is, until we start seeing it. This is also a mirror of how we interact with other people, how we judge other people, or maybe even oppress other people, because how we feel about ourselves is going to be a mirror into our other relationships. So my invitation is for you to get conscious of your thoughts, your inner dialogue, your self-talk, and what it is that you're saying to yourself about yourself and how you view yourself. Can't wait to hear your feedback and your experience, and looking forward to talking to you next time. Take care. Peace and blessings.